Hello and welcome to Tip Demo Wednesday with Captain Stitches. Hi, I'm Jean. Thank you for joining me today as I share with you a quick little tip demo, which actually this is an introduction to a demonstration that I am going to be doing on my next Tip Demo Wednesday. But I wanted to go over the pattern and some of the supplies and everything in case a few of you might want to work along with me on that. So with that in mind, I am going to switch over to the overhead camera so that you can see everything that I have laid out here on my work surface, and we can go over what that is going to be. So give me just a moment while I switch over to that camera. There we are, and you can see everything that I have. Well, the majority of what I have out here. But this is what I am going to be making. It is called a Blossie Basket. It uses the quilt as you go hexagons, and it is a design by Craftapalooza Designs. And the link for her website will be in the description box below. So you can find that there and get that pattern if you're interested and work along with me next week when I do this project. So what are some of the things that you are going to need? Of course, you're going to need the pattern because I'm not going to give you out the exact measurements and everything that are in this pattern because it is not a free pattern, so you will need to go there and find that pattern. But some of you may be familiar with already the quilt as you go method, and this is very easy and simple. So some of you may be able to make it without a pattern. Who knows? We will see. But sorry, Whip is down here trying to, oops, sorry, get up on my lap and get some attention, but he needs to stay down. But as you know, Whip is always with me out here in the stitching cottage. So some of the things that you are going to need is, of course, as I said, the pattern. You are going to need thread, and you are going to need thread not only for stitching your quilt as you go hexagons. And in this project, unlike some others, I am using threads that are going to match the outer portion of my hexagons because I don't want that to show up. So I am matching the thread to those as much as I can. So you're going to want to gather those up, and you are going to need some quilting thread. If you're going to do any embellishing, you will need embroidery thread. So those are the first things that you will need. And you are also going to need several different fabrics. I am using Anna Maria line that I have. I want it to be a little more on the modern side. And I have this collection, so I decided to use it. And then I pulled from some of my Kona solids some fabrics that go along with that for the larger backing outer portion. So, and you are going to need enough for at least, if you're going to put a lid on it, you are going to need enough to cut 8 of each. And then you are also going to need, of course, a template. And this is not the size that she actually makes hers in. You can make it any size that you want, whatever template you have, or hexagons, which is an acrylic set of templates. And that is, like I said, the size that I am using. It is from Field of Blooms, and I have shared information with you on that before, but I will also leave that in the description box below also. And it is very handy if you have a swivel rotary cutting mat, which I happen to have the round Susan Daily one, and that is what I use. And of course, if you're using an acrylic template, you're going to need a rotary cutter. You can use cardboard templates and trace them, however it is that you want to do that, but you're going to need some type of template the size of the inner hexie that you want, and then your outer hexagon also. You are going to, of course, need some needles, both for your hand stitching of your outer portion going all around, and then for any hand quilting or embroidery embellishments that you are going to want to do. Fabric, scissors, of course, little snips, 1-inch ruler comes in handy, a needle threader if you need that, and also a square of felt. I already have mine cut out in the hexagon shape that I'm going to use. You're going to need some braided elastic, and you are going to need a button, which I have not decided on the button I'm using yet. I have an assortment of buttons here to go through when I come to that decision. Let me see. And you could also make a yo-yo or on your lid as an option if you want. And then you are going to need batting also. A thin batting is what she suggests and what I use. I actually use leftover batting from projects that I do using the Quilter's Dream request. That is the hand quilting one, and it is very thin, and I like that the best. Let me see. So I believe that is basically all of the supplies that you are going to need. You will also, you will also need several of the quilting clips, and then you might also want some of the thin pins to use to pin down your thing. You can use fusible batting if you want, because I do stitching on mine. I prefer not to use the fusible batting. That is your choice, of course. And you will see I already have several of mine prepared here with my smaller inner part and then the outer sections. Oopsie, knocked my thread over there. Okay. So, I believe I have covered all of the supplies that you are going to need. So you can go ahead and round those up if you want to stitch along with me as I do this demonstration next Wednesday. We'll see if we can get it done in one video. If not, I will do a second video to make sure that we finish that and everyone has a chance to see it from beginning to end and work along if you want. You also might want a thimble. Saw that laying there. I do use that when I'm doing the quilting part and the stitching of the fold over on that. So, but just to give you an idea, this is what it looks like before you have anything folded over on there. It's a very simple, easy project to do. If you like something you don't have to do a lot of thinking about in hand stitching, this is a great project for you, and you will find many, many ways that you can use these. I'm going to try and get the pattern out here again. The reason that I am making this, and I'm probably going to make several, is I am doing a large EPP project right now, just getting it started. That has 3,283 7/8-inch hexies in it. So I wanted something to be able to hold some of my supplies. I am making mine larger than what her pattern is, by the way. But as you can see here, it does hold some of your supplies and stuff, whatever you wish to use it for. But that is why I decided that I am making this pattern. And like I said, I will probably be making several of them. And so that is what I have for you this Wednesday, short and sweet, just to get you so you know what to expect next week on my tip Demo Wednesday, when I will be starting in full on this project. And those of you that wish to then can stitch along with me at that time. Thanks, everyone. Have a great rest of your week. And remember, as always, in the meantime, I, I can't see me pointing at myself, but I, I can keep you in stitches. Bye-bye, everyone.